Hi, this is Amber, and I'm going to be leading a guided meditation in a moment. But first, I want to spend some time talking about the different postures that you can take for this meditation. Sitting is one posture, and as you can see, I'm sitting on a cushion. You can also sit in a chair, which is totally fine. If you're sitting on a cushion, you want to make sure that you feel very stable. Your knees should be pretty much touching the cushion in front of you. If they're not, if they're up like this, then you just want to take a pillow or blanket and put it under your knee. So under both sides if you need to, so that you feel really balanced and you're not tipping. And the same with the chair. You want your feet to be flat on the floor and probably legs not crossed. And the other thing to pay attention to is your posture, your spine. You want it to be nice and straight. If you're sitting hunched over like this, your energy is going to drop. You'll probably experience sleepiness, and also you probably experience back pain after a few minutes of sitting. And we're going to be doing this for quite a few minutes, so you want to be comfortable. The other options for meditation are laying down, standing, and walking. There's probably more, but those are the most common four. And if you're laying down, you can use a yoga mat, like this one. You can lay down in bed, especially if you're really having issues with pain, with chronic pain, and you really need to be comfortable. But you will most likely fall asleep if you try to meditate in bed. So if you're able to, I would recommend a yoga mat or just being on the floor, maybe on a blanket, but something other than your bed. And if you are experiencing back pain, laying down can be a really good option. Walking meditation, excellent option, especially if you're experiencing sleepiness and you want to get your energy flowing and moving, can lift your energy. And standing meditation, same thing. People rarely fall asleep standing up, although it does happen. So any one of those postures is totally fine. All of them, you want to make sure your spine is nice and straight and that you have good stability. So for standing, you want your feet to be hips width apart or wider, so that you really have a solid base. And eyes can be open or shut. Generally, we meditate with our eyes shut because there's fewer distractions that way. But if you feel more comfortable with your eyes open, that's totally fine. Usually we suggest looking down a few inches in front of you so that you don't get as distracted. And if you start to get very tired, which happens quite a lot, then just open your eyes. That can make a really big difference and you won't find yourself nodding off as much. All right, let's get started. Now that you have found your comfortable position, we can get started with a mindfulness of the breath meditation. Remember, you can always change positions later if you start to feel uncomfortable. There are a lot of different things that we can use for the object of our mindfulness. We can focus on the body, such as a body scan. We can do walking meditation, mindful eating. But in this one, we're going to focus on the breath, and more specifically, breath in the body as we feel it. Sometimes focusing on the breath can be uncomfortable for people. It can feel like we're controlling the breath, or sometimes make it feel like we're having trouble breathing or even raise anxiety. If this happens to you during this meditation, I would suggest focusing the attention to sounds and to hearing. You can at any time focus on the sound of my voice or any other sounds that might be in the room or in your body. And this can be a good way to switch, and you can always come back to the breath later if you feel ready or if you'd like to. In this practice, we're not going to necessarily try to control the breath. We can observe the breath as it's happening naturally. But just to get started, let's take a few deep breaths. Just a nice deep inhalation and a nice deep exhalation. You can even put your hands on your abdomen and feel the abdomen rise and fall as you take a nice deep breath in and a nice exhalation, deep breath out. And then bringing your hands back to wherever they're comfortable. Continuing to breathe. Notice where in your body you feel the breath. You may feel it in the abdomen as the breath causes the abdomen to rise and to fall. You may feel the breath most dominantly in the chest. The chest expands or rises and then contracts. You might feel the breath at the bottom of your nostrils as the breath comes in and out. There might be a feeling of coolness, cool air, maybe warm air, or just the breeze against the skin as you breathe in and out. So wherever you feel the breath most strongly, see if you can stick with that area for a little while. You can always change later if you'd like to, but it's good not to hop around too much. So pick one spot in the body. You might even feel the whole body expanding and contracting with the breath. Any one of these is fine. We just want to make sure that it's an actual physical sensation that we're noticing, not just with our mind that we're breathing in and out, but where in the body do you feel it? And then bring your attention there. How does it feel on the inhalation? And how does it feel on the exhalation? And just bring your attention to one breath. And the breath is happening all by itself. We don't have to really make it happen. It's just naturally there. So we don't need to put much effort into paying attention to the breath. We're just noticing something that's already happening. You may find that it's a little difficult to observe the breath without feeling like you're controlling it, that's fine. That's very normal and not really a problem. So just noticing the inhalation and the exhalation, even if it does feel like you're controlling it a little bit. It's actually quite challenging to observe the breath without bringing in a little bit of change. We can also notice, what is the quality of the breath? Is it a short breath? Is it a long breath? Is it deep? Is it shallow? Whichever it is, we don't have to change it. We're just noticing it. We don't have to fix it. Mindfulness is simply paying attention in the present moment in an open and non-judgmental way, however it shows up. So just bringing the attention back to this very breath. Just one breath. One inhalation, one exhalation. Mindfulness is simply paying attention to the present moment, however it shows up, in an open and friendly and non-judgmental way. Not judging means that we observe the present without adding anything to it. So we're looking at it in almost a scientific or very factual kind of way. So we may notice that our breath is deep, or we may notice that it is shallow. And for the purpose of mindfulness, it doesn't really matter which one, as long as we're noticing it. So we may feel that we're supposed to be breathing more deeply, that breathing in a shallow way is bad. But for now, we don't really have to worry about that. We don't have to change it. So we're using the breath as an anchor for our mind, for our mindfulness. When the mind wanders, which it naturally will, we just notice, and then we kindly, gently bring it back. Bring it back to the breath, back to the body, back to the sensations in the body where we feel the breath. And in this way, we strengthen our ability to be present and to be mindful. The breath in the body can be a great object of mindfulness because it is always with us. It is always available. There's nothing we need to buy or get or do. We can be anywhere and drop into the breath in the body. And the breath is very connected to our nervous system. So paying attention to the breath can help us realize if we are feeling anxious or nervous, and we might be holding our breath. And it can also help us to bring in an element of calm or relaxation if we are feeling that we're holding our breath, or we're in a situation where we're feeling anxious or nervous or worried. wherever the mind is now, just gently bringing it back to the breath, bring it back to the body, noticing where you feel the breath in your body. Our minds can really be anywhere. Our minds can be in the past, in the future, planning, whereas the body is always in the present moment. So when we come back to the breath in the body, we're coming back to the present. If something else arises in your experience, maybe an itch or a pain in the body or sounds in the room or outside, rather than seeing them as a disruption and something that we want to try to push away that's interrupting our mindfulness experience, see if you can include them and just see them as another thing to be mindful of. Sometimes a sound can even bring us back to attention when our mind has wandered. So think of it as a mindfulness bell that's bringing you back to the present moment. And there's no need to push it away. We can make room for it, include it in our experience. Just notice it. And then when you're ready, gently come back to the breath and the body. Choosing an anchor, such as the breath, or any object of mindfulness, helps to develop concentration and our ability to be present. So every time the mind wanders, which it always does, and we intentionally bring it back, we wake up from our daydream and we intentionally bring our attention back to the breath, to the body, to whatever the object of mindfulness is. And we're exercising that muscle of mindfulness. We're developing our ability to be present, be aware, be awake, be mindful. wherever the mind is now. Just gently bring it back. A regular practice of mindfulness has been shown to have many positive benefits, such as reducing stress, increasing happiness, can help to reduce anxiety and depression. And although we can't guarantee any of the results, over time with regular practice, you should really see some of these benefits. And you may be wondering if you're doing it right. Your mind it just keeps wandering off, and you might even be still feeling some worry or anxiety, and so you're wondering, is this going to work? Am I doing this right? Well, if you are aware of what's going on, even if it is something negative, if you're aware of my voice speaking right now, if you realize that your mind has wandered and then you bring it back, even if it has taken minutes of daydreaming and then suddenly you realize it and you come back, then yeah, you're doing it right. And the beauty of mindfulness is that we can be mindful of anything, even a negative experience. So whatever you're experiencing right now, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, just notice it and gently bring your attention back, bringing it back to the breath, bring it back to the body again and again. Wherever your mind is right now, just noticing, and then gently bringing it back to the breath, to your body, feeling where you feel the breath in the body. Is it the abdomen? Is it the chest? Is it the nostrils? Is it your whole body? And just letting your awareness rest there. See if you can bring a quality of ease and lightness and relaxation to your attention on the breath. Remembering that the breath is already happening. We don't need to put much effort into noticing it. So our attention can be light. If the quality of the attention we're bringing is too strong, then it can actually work to increase our stress instead of bringing us the qualities of ease and relaxation that we may be looking for in our practice. So just noticing. But having said that, even if we're not able to access that sense of ease, that sense of relaxation, then that's okay too. If what we're noticing is a tightness, or if we're finding that we're bringing a very rigid quality of attention to our breath, if that's the way it is and we're not able to relax it, then just bring mindfulness to that. The mindfulness is still working. And over time, you will be able to bring in more ease. And at this time, take a moment to expand your attention to the rest of your body, to your back and your neck, your knees. How does your whole body feel? Are you comfortable? If you are feeling some discomfort, then maybe take a moment to go ahead and readjust a bit. You might want to sit up a little bit straighter, or move your knees to a different position where you have more ease. This is your opportunity to practice some self-care and kindness. You may even need to completely change postures. Maybe you need to stand up, or to lay down, or to uncross your legs. So please go ahead and readjust as needed, and follow whatever intuition your body is telling you that it needs.
And wherever the mind is right now, gently bringing it back without judgment, without adding anything. Remembering that the mind naturally wanders. That's what it does. And it's really not a problem. We just keep noticing that our thoughts have drifted and then gently, kindly bring it back over and over. We always have the chance to begin again with this very breath. So go ahead and come back to the present with this inhalation and then this exhalation. You may find yourself mentally leaning into the future, waiting for the end of the mindfulness session, or maybe making some plans for after the session. Sometimes this is very obvious and we notice it, and sometimes it can be a very subtle sense of leaning forward, leaning into the future. If you find yourself anticipating the end of the session, see if you can gently come back to just this breath. All of the plans will still be there when the sitting is over. So for now, you can just put them down gently and just be with this breath. I'd like to end our sitting today with a poem by Rumi. It's called The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. They may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Staying with the listening. In a moment, you're going to hear the sound of 3 bells ending our sitting today. And see if you can listen to each bell from beginning to middle to end, and all 3 bells before you end your practice.
Thank you for sitting with me. Any questions or comments, let me know. Namaste.